fellow gripsters, this is Ollie. You may know me from when Evan reviewed my 200K main event win on Bovada. But for those of you that don't, just someone that enjoys playing a lot of different formats of poker. I've been getting a lot better. I think that I'm a pretty competent player in general. So, and Evan asked me to do a review of my Mad Monday heads up win. He doesn't really have much heads up content on the Grip site, so we thought it'd be a good idea to get some on there. For general heads up strategy, I think that I should probably talk about how I'm planning on playing in this tournament. So my general strategy is to be min raising. If we were deeper, like we're gonna start with like 80 big blinds deep in this tournament. This is the second round. I ended up winning my first match pretty quickly, so I didn't record that part. But if we were like 150 or 200 big blinds deep, I think that making it 3x is more viable and probably a better option. But since we're only 80 big blinds deep, and I want to see flops with these guys in position, I think that should be min raising, and I'm going to be playing 100% of hands. I think it's a pretty big mistake not to be if you're a competent player, especially if you're better than your opponents. As you can see, a hand like Deuce 4 off. Oh no, I put Deuce 4 suited here. Let me put Deuce 4 off real quick. Oh, I just wanted to show you guys that even a hand like Deuce 4 offsuit against 100% of hands, which your opponent will have when he hasn't done anything, if I'm raising 100% of hands, so like hand like Deuce 4 off or Deuce 7 off or whatever, it has 33% equity against his 100% range. And with 33% equity, we'll be able to realize our equity a lot of the time since we're in position. We're getting a chance to play in position post flop against a player that we're better than, and there's just a lot of runouts that we can win on or bluff on or improve on somehow. And I think that not raising 100% of hands in this spot would be a mistake. While if our opponent is min raising, I think that we could be defending 100% of hands actually, because our opponent probably won't be. So if our opponent's raising 100% of hands, they're probably raising a little tighter than that, honestly. But if he's raising close to 100% of hands, and we have like 33% equity, blinds are going to start at 20-40. So if he makes it 80, we got to call 40 to win 120 chips. So we're getting 3-1, which means we need 25% equity. As you can see, Deuce 4 off has way more than 25% equity. The problem to this idea that you should be playing 100% of hands here and you're getting more than the right odds to call is that we won't be able to realize all of our equity a lot of the time. So even though we have 33%, we're not going to be able to realize that all the time. Also, sorry about that. We could be bluffed on a lot of runout. Not a lot. You probably won't bluff us on too much, but we could be bluffed. Like if we flop like bottom pair and we call flop, and if he bets turn, we pretty much have to fold a lot of the time, and he could be bluffing us with like this straight draws or flush draws or something. So that is a downfall. But considering that I expect to be the I don't want to sound cocky, but I honestly expect that to be like one of the best heads up players in this tournament. It was only a $33 buy-in, so it's not going to be that impressive of a field, generally speaking. So I expect myself to be one of the best players heads up. One of the best players post flop in this tournament. So I think that having said that, I think defending 100% of hands is just going to be the correct play versus min raise against most of these opponents. If they 3x, I'm obviously not going to be calling 100% because then I'm just not getting the right odds in a lot of spots. But yeah, I thought that was important to mention how I'm planning on playing this tournament. One other thing is that this was the last tournament that I registered for today, and throughout the day I was getting a lot of like 20 30th, like those like 20th, 30th place finishes. So it was kind of a disappointing day, but the good part is that at this time I was only playing one other table, and that's a table that you can kind of see a little bit of right there, right here. But the good thing news is I'm gonna bust out of that tournament soon, so I'm gonna be able to just focus all my attention on the heads up tourney, and this won't be distracting you while you're watching this video or watching the next parts as well. So I ended up having about 8 heads up matches, I think. So I think I got into quite a few interesting spots throughout this tournament. I think there's a lot of cool spots to talk about. So I'm pretty excited about that. I should probably just get into the action. Yeah, alright. I assume it's about to start. Okay. So yeah, blind's about to start at 2040. We have 3,000 chips, so actually we're gonna be deeper later against in other heads up matches than this. But I think 80 big blinds is still gonna give us a lot of room to work with. Sorry about the extra table right there. I was just going over a hand that was just played in the other tournament. So he limps, which is interesting. It already is making me assume that he's probably gonna be a weaker player, a tight or a loose passive player, which can be limping a lot. That's just my assumption at first. On this board, if he bet like 40 chips, I think a call is like mandatory. Um, I think a lot of people may possibly disagree with this, but I think folding is a decent mistake here. So once he bets 40, we have to call 40 to win 120, so we're getting 3 to 1, so we need to win 20% of the time, wait, 25% of the time. So, and considering he's limping, I expect him not to be limping the top like 20 something percent of hands. I expect those hands to be raising, and then he's gonna have a limping range. Like I don't know yet, but that's just my general assumption of how he's gonna play. And if I have Queen of Clubs, 3 of Clubs here, and he has like 25% to 100% of hands, I'm actually gonna be a favorite. And considering I only need to be like 25%. I'd probably want to be like 32% at least, because I'm not gonna be able to realize all that equity that I have. So considering that I am 52% here, I think folding is a pretty big mistake. So I definitely call. I'd be shocked to see myself fold. The turn is slightly better for me because I called this flop c-bet, but not immensely better. On that river, I expect us to be chopping a lot, so I definitely want to bluff. Don't want to bet too big because his range technically isn't capped, because he could definitely check back a 10 or a jack on the turn just to be tricky. So I think a bet is good here. I think checking is probably not great, because if he bets, we pretty much have to fold. Once he raises, you just have to fold here. I know I thought of it for a sec to raise here, but like this is the first hand. He's not just gonna go crazy on the first hand and just try to bluff his like 6-4 suited here or whatever. Like I expect him to have either like a jack or kickback on a turn, or I expect him to have limp pocket aces, because he didn't want, it was first hand. He doesn't know how I'm playing. He doesn't want to just raise and he thinks I'm gonna fold, blah blah blah, whatever, stupid, and he just limp pocket aces to be tricky, and the turn was bad for him, so he checked back, which makes sense. And then once he rivers days, he just has it all, and he's trying to get some value for my 10 or jack X. But in general, I just think that I'm just not being bluffed there like almost ever, especially on the first hand. I think betting like 80 here is just gonna be the best play. I expect him to fold a lot of hands. I think there's a decent amount of hands we can continue. We can continue on that card for sure. Now we do have some equity against a lot of hands now, even though we don't have a diamond. I think betting here is cool. I think he's gonna fold like his 3x, his 5x, his ace x. That's actually a lot of hands in his range right there. He's not folding 8x and flushes obviously, or like 4-6 suit that he has, but we can still get those hands fold on like decent amount of rivers. We obviously can't get him to fold a flush, but pretty much anything else. Like if another diamond comes, which is great for us, we can get him to fold a lot of hands. I think betting not big, not huge here is gonna be the best play. The reason I say that, how much? So looks like I'm gonna be at 480. I think 480 is like way better than betting like 650, because 480 keeps hands like 9 of diamonds, 10 of diamonds, jack of diamonds, queen of diamonds, king of diamonds hands in our range. While if you bet 650, we're pretty much saying we have the king of diamonds or the ace of diamonds. And with this bet, we have a lot more value hands, and probably looks like we have less bluffs to him. So I think betting a smaller size is definitely going to be the better play here. He thinks for too long apparently. Like, I don't know. When I play heads up, I make my decisions pretty quickly, but some guys like to just use the whole 30 seconds. Which, it's their right. They get to think for however long they want, but uh, I'm usually just a pretty quick player. This guy, he hasn't raised any hands yet from what it seems. He's either called or limped or folded. So he's probably pretty passive. He's tighter than the average heads up player should be. And now he raises. So I think he 3-off still defend. I would call this flop against most players, but against this guy, I think a fold is better. Like, we don't know that he's for sure a title player. Like, he may have just been getting total rags. Looks like a call, which is not good. But, like, if any of you know, like, what Bayesian theory is, it's basically just states that, if he shoved, like, his small blind the first time he had a chance to, while I was in the big blind for, like, 10 bigs, he could just be shoving, the correct range, But the fact that we've seen him do that once, he's just slightly more likely to have a looser range than a tighter range. That's just what Bayesian theory basically states. Like, we see somebody, like, on the limited information we get, we have to make assumptions, basically, when we play poker. So when we see someone do something, we can kind of predict just slightly that they're a little bit more likely to be like this than like this. Like, I think it's like kind of how we think anyway, but I think it's just important to like state what it is. So I think my call and flop was not good, and he presumably bets again because he's a tighter player. So once he goes flops, then bet turn. Yeah. I don't remember all the hands that I played here, honestly, especially in this first match. I remember the later hands a little more because I did have like 8 or 9 matches or whatever. So the first earlier matches were like less relevant for me, obviously. But I still remember quite a few hands. I definitely remember this hand. So multi limps. I think raising sometimes with 4-7 here would be fine, but I think checking is going to be standard. On this turn, I want to bet for value, get called by his like ace high, his 3x check back, possibly like some like king 6 if he ever checks that back, which probably not likely. Whoa, let me pause this real quick. Okay, once he raises, I think this raise is bad. Like, I think this is really bad raise on his part. Okay, I might be being a little too harsh. I just don't think it's a good raise. The reason I don't think it's a good raise is because his range is capped. What I mean by that is that he just can't have the nuts while I can. Like, he's not checking back a hand like 6-7 here on the flop. Well, I can easily have 6-7 because all I did was call pre-flop. You know, I'm calling with 6-7 pre-flop. And then I bet turn, which I would bet with 6-7. So I can very easily have the nuts while he cannot. And having the 7 blocker gives me more reason to bluff because then I'm very, very likely he can't have the nuts. And he can't have, like, it's tough for him to have, like, pocket fours as well if he ever checks that back. So when he bets this, when he raises my bet on turn, I expect him to have, like, a hand like Jack 10 plus, Jack 10, Queen 10, King 10, Ace 10. And then I expect him to have hands like 10-3 that you check back. Maybe 10-4, it's kind of hard for him to have 10-4 when I have 10-4, but it's still a possible hand. So I think those are his most likely hands. So I don't think calling is that great because then if I don't improve, I'm just going to lose. So I think raising the turn is going to be very good. Then raising the turn, if I was just to raise turn and then check river, I don't think this raise would be good because I expect him to call here like almost every time. But I think if I can raise this turn here and then overbet river, I expect to win the hand like so often. I think that's the best play by far because when someone's range is so capped, you can just attack it. Like you can't attack it as often in heads up. You know, it's heads up. They're just gonna call you so much more often. But in this spot, I think it's a great spot to do it. Me having a 7 blocker, so I'm blocking the nuts. It's like pretty much impossible for him to have the nuts. I have 4 outs to a straight as well, and 2 outs to trips. So and he's basically told me what he has. So I'm feeling very confident I can get a 10 fold here. So I am gonna raise here and overbet turn river, and he just can't call. I think putting him in is probably the best sizing because it just puts all the pressure on him. He doesn't want to bust 9 hands in. You know, he still has an okay stack. Like he's still 56 big blinds deep. So I just think that this play puts the most pressure on him. I don't think betting like 2,000 is better than betting 2240 here. I think 2240 is going to be slightly better. It's close, obviously, because he's still pretty close to out, but he still has sub chips if I bet 2,000. So I think as a bluff or just in general, my best play is just gonna be to bet his whole stack. I hope I don't make this video too long. So far we're 18 minutes in, which isn't good because there's still a decent amount of hands for us to play. And Evan wanted me to make the video is 20 to 30 minutes. So this one might be a little longer than that, so I apologize for that. But my other heads up matches will hopefully be shorter. I think calling here with King Queen is guaranteed. It's like 100% the best play. I think doing anything but calling is incorrect. Like I don't care what strategy you're playing. I think it's just incorrect to be 4-betting this hand's a bluff heads up because it's just too strong. And I also think that folding is just ridiculous. I assume most of you know that, and like don't need me to tell you that. On this flop, I expect I called, but I don't think I should. I had no diamond, and this guy is a tight player, so he's gonna have it here a lot. So whoa, I do fold. All right, I like it. I'm surprised I folded, but I think with no diamond in my hand, I think it has to be a fold, especially considering he's short and he doesn't have much behind. Hero Queen 6. Pretty. On this turn, I think checking. Yeah, I think checking is best. On this river, checking is definitely best. And I won somehow, which is kind of weird. But this hand is probably not that interesting to you guys. But I think it's actually like a pretty cool hand to think about when thinking about your whole range here. Because some players might want to bluff here, and I don't think it's good. I don't think he's folding any pair if I bet. And I do think that I'll get him to fold king high. That's what I do expect. But the problem with that is, I think if I'm bluffing queen high, I'm just bluffing too often. I think my bluffs here that I'm going to have are going to be hand like 8-3, 8-5, maybe 10-8, but there's a decent chance I bet that on a turn. And then 10-3, 10-5, 10-6, uh, and then Jack 3, Jack 5, Jack 6, and possibly Jack 8. So considering I have that many bluffs, and then my value hands are 7x plus, so 7x, 9x, and ace x. I don't really have that many ace x at all, so I really only have like 7x and 9x. I think I already have enough bluffs that I think bluffing queen high is just not gonna be good. It's probably okay, but I just think when looking at my whole range, this hand is much better to check, and I do still sometimes win, like right here, especially against this kind of player. I call 3 bets pretty wide, but not with 8-4 off. 4-7 off though. Okay, left. Yeah, you could possibly raise sometimes, but checking is the standard. I think folding the flop is obviously the correct play. Like no type of draw, no type of backdoors really. Just not a good flop, and you just goes with the pot. Yeah. I like I said, I'm min raising 100% of hands here. Like if I do 7 here, I'm still min raising. Uh, I think for those of you that don't raise like 100% of buttons, I think you should think about doing it at least. Like at least test yourself by trying it on like a $2 heads up sitting or whatever. I think it's pretty cool, pretty good way to play heads up poker. I do think I make quite a few mistakes throughout the matches. Like not that many mistakes. I think I played pretty well. Oh, by the way, 3 betting this hand I think is a mistake though. So I'm glad I called. I think Ace A is just too strong of a hand to be 3 betting as a bluff, and it's just too weak to be 3 betting for value. So it should definitely be in your calling range here. Very easy call and flop, but top pair are not a good kicker. On this turn, if he bets again, I would peel again, but I'm not loving it. Once he checks, I want to bet ace for value on the river. I have queen 10 and king queen that I can bluff. So I think bluffing those 32 combos of hands and betting my ace x is going to be the best way to play. Okay. Come on, buddy. Everything can get mad at me. Come on. Alright. Definitely like a race here to, yeah, I think 180 is going to be good here in general. King Jack is just so far ahead of his lipping range that thinking some value here now is best. I think Ben this flop is also best. I got the King of Diamonds. I got a bet for a straight draw. I can bet on a lot of turns. Like any diamond, any nine, any queen, jack, king, ace, all those cards. And on the 9, I'm still going to be betting. I think 420 is going to be, yep, 420. I think 420 is going to be the best bet, or like, 4 something is going to be the best bet here. Because then if he calls, he'll be down to like 1,500 chips with 1,500 in the middle. And then I can just jam on a lot of rivers if I wanted to, whether it's for value or as a bluff. I think with King Jack exactly, if I don't improve, I'm probably not bluffing. Just because I have other weaker hands that I'm gonna jam the river with. Like if I have hand like 7-8, Jack 8, Jack 7 if I'm bluffing that, 6-7, or like if I have like the weak diamond draws, those hands as well. In this spot, I would start limping a lot of hands, but Considering he hasn't seen me limp yet, I want to continue raising while I have a strong hand. If I had a weaker hand, I'd probably limp in this spot, honestly. But he doesn't know that, so it's an exploitative raise. But it's gonna be the best way to play in this spot, I think. I think 170 or 200 are both fine. I don't think it makes that much of a difference. Like, I don't know if I thought he would call me with king high if I bet 170 and fold if I bet 200, but I mean, I think 200 is just fine. Just get max value from this guy, but it doesn't really matter in that spot, I guess. Here with 9-5, I assume I go with my limping strategy. Because this guy, I think just raising every hand would be better because he's kind of tight. But generally, I go to my limping strategy around now, so it makes sense why I'm doing this to me. But I think if I was really thinking about it, I think I would realize that he's kind of a tighter player, and then I should probably just be raising and full into shoves. Or that looks pretty strong. I guess assume I don't call yet. So I have about I have pretty decent chip lead here. If he doubles, then we're close to even again, which is fine with me. So I'm not really too worried in this spot yet. So obviously it's heads up and there's a lot of variance, but at this point I'm feeling pretty good about my chances. In this tournament, you have to win your first 3 matches to cash. Top 64 got paid. In the first round, some guys got buys, I didn't, and then it was top 264. Is that what it was? I think. And then we played that. So second round, in the third round, top 128. So I guess it was top 256, not top 264. And then top 64 got paid. Sorry, I wasn't talking about this hand, but here, like I said, I'm looking 100% of hands, and once he bets flop, I think I'm calling with a gutter and backdoor flush draw. Here on this turn, I think betting 400 is going to be the best play. Because if I bet 400, it actually puts a lot of pressure on him. See, right now, if he folds, and when I bet, he has 1,500 chips while I have 4,500. In that case, if he doubles up, we have even stacks. However, if he calls his 400 and folds river, if I bet, or if I have the best hand or whatever, if he doubles up, he'll have 2,200 chips, while I'll have what 3,800. So I'll still have a decent chip lead against him. So I think folding and preserving his stack right now is vital for him. So or at least in his mind. So I expect to get a lot of folds here on the turn if I just bet 400. All right. Next hand, if he raises, I'll probably call. It's close. I might fold against this guy. On this flop, I'm definitely gonna check call with a pair and a backdoor flush draw and backdoor straight draw. On that turn, it's an okay turn. Like I was thinking about leading for a sec, but I just have so many other hands that are not 9x that I think just checking is probably best. Once he bets, you could have a hand like Jack 10, 6, 7, 7, 10, whatever, flush draw, whatever. He has a lot of bluffs in my mind at this point. I think calling turn is okay. Once again, river, I think it's a fold. I remember I called this in. I do remember this, but and obviously I lose because I'm complaining about the hand. But honestly, I'm not trying to be results oriented. When he bets 400 to 800, I just don't think he's gonna be bluffing. I haven't seen this guy bluff turn or river once so far, at least from what I know. So for him to just out of nowhere 3-barrel, it's kind of suspicious in general. And if he had a bluff, he had a hand like Jack 10, Queen 10, 10 7, 6 7, flush draw, whatever. Like there's a decent chance he would bet bigger, like 500 or 600, than just half pot, because he's trying to get called. I mean, because he doesn't want me to call. But when he bets 400, he just looks like he's trying to get called. It looks like he doesn't have that many 9x. Like he could have 9x. It's not out of the realm of possibility. Like I don't know his exact range here. But once he bets 400, it just looks like he's like kind of a thinner value bet. But so I think a 3 is just not going to be a good call here because he's never going to be value betting a 3. It looks like it's probably like Jack 8 plus maybe. And he just was slow playing kings, which makes sense. And makes my call just seem even worse than what it is. Yeah. So I'm going with Olympic strategy. I probably would have liked min raise, but Olympic is okay. Pretty good flop for me. I'm obviously just gonna bet like 100 chips. And take it down. Oh boy, I'm pretty afraid by how long this video is getting. 31 minutes. Oh god. Okay, once he limps, we could raise, but I think checking is totally fine. We flop a flush draw, so not a bad flop for our hand. Definitely above average. On this turn, I'm scared, but I check back honestly, because he hasn't really been checking back when he's limped. He's like min bet the flop a lot, but I have a flush draw, so I do need some bluffs here, obviously. So I think I'm okay with the bet, but it's not my favorite spot. But it worked out surprisingly. Here, I think I'm gonna go for the limp shove. Like if he raises, I expect his range to be decently strong, but at the same time, A7 suited is just a really strong hand. I'm definitely going to be betting 100 chips. I think checking back is okay because we don't need to protect for much. However, he could have like some random diamond draw, and that could be bad for us. And there may not be that many hands that we can call bet on the flop. So I think letting him draw to like 6 outs that he's not really drawing to. That they just aren't going to be good. It's probably going to be the best play. Here with the Queen 9, he's a tighter player, obviously. He hasn't raised much. His pre-flop raise is only 18 so far, but Queen 9 is just too strong in my hand. And that's a very easy fold. Once again, I am playing 100%. I am not afraid to to play the old Deuce 7 against this guy. There are some guys that I may fold Deuce 7, but there aren't many. Here, the turn call, I'm just playing to bluff a lot of rivers. The 7 is not great. Obviously, a diamond draw and straight draw get there. Well, that was a bad check on his part. Like, while it's true, in his eye, he doesn't think I'll call with a lot of hands. If I have a 3x, I'm probably still calling. Like, I may not, honestly, but it's at least possible. However, any pair that I have, I'm checking, so he's not getting me to bluff those hands. Any flush that I got there with, I'm betting, I'm getting value from his hand. Any straight that I have, I'm betting and I'm chopping with his hand. So his check, he's not getting any value from any of my hints. So he should probably just be betting himself. For at least even if the bet is neutral EV, at least I won't know what he has. Just at least that going for him. While checking, just nothing good is going for him. So he's came back a little bit now, but I'm still pretty confident. Here with the 3, I'm just gonna min bet, pretty much for value / protection. Once he min raises, I guess I call. I don't really like it against this guy, but I have a king. It's a pretty strong hand. Heads up. It's a pretty good flop for me. The turn is a pretty great card because I expect to be value betting his ace-x here. on the turn. I expect him to check back his ace-x on the flop. So I'm liking this spot. I definitely want to call and give him a chance to bet river with his bluffs as well as his ace-x. Obviously, I could be beat by a decent amount of hands here, so I think king deuce is probably just too weak of a hand to check raise, unless he bets really small. 450, I think, just very easy. Oh, actually, he did bet pretty small. I think raising the river might be okay versus stab size, but in general, I like just to call there. A very easy shove with threes. He has like 8 big blinds. Tens, very easy call off. Obviously, I know I'm saying this. I kind of just don't like dead air, so you just want to fill in when it's obvious spots, like right here. I think I should probably shove. And he is applying with queen deuce. Hits the queen. His call actually not that bad. Like you'd be kind of surprised. He has 6 big blinds, right? And is that right? Yeah, he has whatever. He has about 6 big blinds. And for if I'm shoving Nash, for those of you who don't know, you can just type in Nash poker calculator on Google, and I'm sure it'll be the first thing that comes up. If I'm shoving Nash, which I might be against some players, but that's not my strategy here, then his call with Queen Deuce is pretty close, like break even, maybe slightly profitable, but it's not horrible for sure. It's definitely not horrible. But the problem with that is that I am not shoving Nash. Like I'm still limping a lot of my weaker hands, and shoving my slightly stronger hands and my really strong hands. Of course, that's exploitable, but I'm just not going to be exploited by this guy. He's just playing too tight, just checking, limping, all that shit. But that's my strategy here. So I think considering I'm not shoving Nash, his call off is bad. But he doesn't really know that, and because I've shoved the last 3 hands, so he might just assume just shoving Nash. So in his spot, it's not the worst call, but I assume that he doesn't even know what Nash range is. I assume he's just doing it just to just to get some chips because he's getting short. But yeah. Oh boy, this video's getting so long. Pretty sure I beat him in my next 5 hands, so hopefully the video doesn't go too much longer. Here with deuces, he has like 12 or 13. He's like 13 big blinds. I think the most unexploitable way and best way to play with deuces is just shove there. Like you don't want to be called. If you min raise, it's just not a great spot for you ever. There's no runouts you can really bluff on. Like, I think just shoving is just gonna be the best way to play the hand. Here with 8-3, I like a limp. Once he shoves, very easy fold. Well, the good news is the air tournament is out of your guys' way. Here with 8-6 suited, I like a check better than a shove, but I think just because I thought he was a tight, weak player, that he was gonna fold like everything, so I just went for a shove. But I still like checking better. 8-6 suited plays pretty well. Like I don't know. I think there's a lot of other hands that are better to shove there than 8-6 suited. Okay, I expect me to finish here in the next like 3 hands, hopefully. Okay, limp to Jack 3 suited. Once again, got fold. Yeah, I'm just. No, I thought there wasn't more than 45 hands that I played against this guy, but I guess there is. Once again, I'm sorry, Evan. I didn't expect this match to be this long, but I'm very confident that almost no other matches are this long that I played, so no other video is gonna be this long and length, obviously. King 5-2 is gonna be a standard call. I flop a pair on this board. The way my range is set up against his stack size, I expect myself to shove here. In fact, I know I shove here actually. I do remember this. Just because I'm gonna shove anything I want to continue with here. Like if I have a straight, I'm actually gonna shove. If I have a flush draw, I'm gonna shove. If I have a set, I'm gonna shove. If I have any pair, I guess I'm shoving. So I think that shoving is just gonna be the best way to play my range here. Just because I have some, if I have a hand like King 7, Jack 7, Queen 7, 10 7, whatever, any like straight draw hand like that, like I'm gonna shove that hand too. So I think the fact that I'm gonna shove all my strong hands and all my draws, I gotta shove this kind of hand too. So I think just my whole range that I have here that I want to continue with is gonna be shoving against this bet. And he calls, and we end up holding against we were a slight favorite, obviously, but not a huge favorite. But yeah, so thanks for watching the video. I wanted to leave you guys with one tip at the end of every video. I thought it would be kind of a cool thing to do. So my tip for this video is to just not play. Okay, what I mean by that is if you want to play poker, I think you should be doing a lot of studying and a lot less playing. If you want to get good at poker, like if you're just doing recreationally, just fucking around, having fun, like whatever, like just play, enjoy yourself, the game's great. But if you actually want to get better and improve as much as you can, become the best poker player you can be, I think that just spending all your time studying instead of playing can be much more beneficial for you in the long run. That's my tip. I hope you guys can take that to heart or not, whatever. Thanks for watching my video again. I'll come back with a few more parts, hopefully, and see you next time.